All right, so we're at another addition project that we're doing currently. We had a little material mishap. We got a board in and it was pretty crooked, so we didn't want to build anything until it was perfectly straight. So we're waiting on that to come in, but we'll take you back here and show you kind of what we're doing. So back here, this is going to be a second story addition here. So it's going to be a new sunroom built out over the top of this thing here. And then there's going to be a deck off the side of it, and then you'll be able to walk down in front of it. So it's going to be kind of a extra living space. It's going to be a really cool project when we're all done with it. I can't wait to get started on it, get it all framed up, hopefully in the next week or so. All right, we are at our sunny disposition addition here. They got all the walls set from our last time we came out here. We got all of our window openings, so you can see all of them are coming out pretty much identical, same heights. Everything will run in together. And then we got the trusses up, so we're using a scissor truss on the ceiling here. So that's going to give it that extra vault in the ceiling. It'll make it feel a lot bigger than just a flat ceiling. So we're getting the stick framing portion of the rafters done. So right up here, we can't use trusses because it's such a short little run. So what we're doing is we're hand cutting all these to make it fit back in. So that's what Andrew's doing right now. And then later on, we'll get this plywooded in, and then we'll get the windows put in probably next week, and on to the next thing. All right, we are out at our sunny disposition project. So we're underneath basically the girth of the project. What we're doing is we're actually doing a couple different kinds of insulation. So we're using an ISO board, and what that basically does is it breaks down the thermal barrier and prevents condensation. So that's going to go against the floor. And then in between the gap here is going to be a batt. And then on top of that will be another ISO board. You're basically getting R42 or R48 almost in insulation because of how we're stacking the layers. And then that will all be sealed up with a soffit panel. And so that should keep this floor a lot warmer than if it was just open like this. All right, so we got all of our windows in here. These are some Gherkin vinyl sliding windows that we put in here. Double pane, low E argon, gas filled. They're going to perform really, really well for this type of exposure. And they all slide. So basically you're going to get the most airflow and the most glass that you can get. The only other way you could get more glass is if you went with a casement, but the windows would have to be smaller. All right, so in here we're going to be using a split system. So we've already talked about those a little bit in the burnt house project. You can go back and check out those videos if you want. So they'll be able to heat and cool and control this room separate from the whole house. So we're not running a duct out here. So a lot of times you have that problem in two-story houses where your main floor and your basement are cold in the summer, but your second floor is super hot. So instead of trying to adapt what they have in their current house to fit this, we're just going to use one of those mini split systems to be able to heat and cool this independently from the house. All right, so we are at the sunny disposition addition project. If you haven't already noticed, construction isn't quite a perfect science. So we have had a little bit of a setback here. We drew up the plans originally one way, and we took them to our local building and safety department, and they said, well, you can change them and do it actually a different way. So it actually eliminated our second row of posts. And then once we did that, inspector came out, basically said that we need to reframe the floor because the way it is right now doesn't meet what his code is telling him. So we basically employed an engineer to re-engineer it to meet code. So now what we're going to have to do is, I'll bring you over here, is we are going to have to dig a footing here and dig a footing over there to cut the span down from this edge band here. And that should take care of it, and we'll be able to pass all of our inspections and everything. So when somebody tells you why construction takes so long, it's, well, I wish us as the contractor had control over the whole process, but a lot of times there's things out of our control and things that we can't plan for that happen. So it's not a fun thing and it's not an easy thing, but we do our best to try and get past those and fix them as quick as possible. So that's what we're doing here. Other thing we're doing, we did this already on another project. We're putting in a mini split system. So this system here is a condenser, and then this goes up and cools this room. So it's a separate unit from the house so that they can heat and cool these independently of each other. So let's say this is going to be warmer because it has tons of windows and it's open on the bottom. That's going to be a little warmer, so they're going to want to pump more air in here and not in there. So rather than extending a duct out in the floor and up, what we did was we used a mini split system. All right, so we are inside of the Sunny Disposition Edition project. Insulation is in. I don't know if you can hear it on the camera, but it is extremely quiet in here right now. Kind of makes me want to just take a nap. But so what we did is on the ceiling is we blew it all in. So that's a dense pack, and we're going to get the most R value per inch that we can get without going with a spray foam, and we still get really good ventilation in the roof cavity with a vaulted ceiling. And then we did just regular fiberglass bats in the walls, and then over here is where that mini split unit is going to go in. So that unit's going to sit right up there on the wall, and it's going to heat and cool this whole space right from there. All right, so we have a special guest today. This is Otto. This is my little mini Australian Shepherd. So he's coming around with us today. So we're back at the Sunny Disposition Edition project. So the biggest thing that has happened since is these gigantic footings. So basically what we were able to do was pour these guys, and then we're going to support from about right here, and that is going to eliminate any need for another mid-beam across here. Got our insulation here ready to go. That's going to happen soon. The drywallers are coming in soon. It can be hanging and mud and taping and everything and all that. All right, we are out here at our Sunny Disposition Edition. Andrew's getting everything rolled at the first coat of paint. We got the drywall on, we got all the windows in, and this space is really starting to come to life, and you can really start to feel the actual size of this room. So the outside walls ended up being almost 10 foot, and then their peak's about 12 foot, so it really gives you that big vaulted feel out here. And the guys are outside working on the deck, getting that all framed up. It's going to come together, feel really cool. Just all the windows and letting all the light in feels really cool. All right, so we are back out here at our Sunny Disposition Edition. We got the trim and casing on. They're shooting that on and getting that all sanded off so we can get it all painted up and final touched up. Finally got our patio door in. We got our base trim in. Over here we got the mini split system in right here. So that's going to heat and cool this whole space. Yeah, we are on the final push here. They're working on the deck outside. I'll take you out there. So we added on this little about 8 by 20 deck here. So they're just finishing up the railings and the stairs are there. And yeah, it's going to be sweet. So this flashing goes down and over our ledger board so that if any water gets behind here, it's going to go down in front of this and then go back behind that. So it has no chance of running out this wall here. So big key detail to make sure you do on all your decks, because if you do ever have an issue with water, it's going to run out over instead of go back and rot inside of the house. The rain has hopefully finally passed. We've been trying to finish this job up, but we have been plagued with rain for like the last week. So if you've been in Lincoln, you know what we've been struggling with. So temperatures dropped, but there's no rain today, so the guys are getting siding on. They got the deck pretty much all wrapped up. The inside of this Sunny Disposition Edition is wrapped up for our portion. They got their tack strip laid. They're going to put the carpet down this week. Everything's trimmed out. Everything's awesome in here. Super clean. It flows right in from the old house. So you can tell it just flows basically right into here. And then once you have that super nice weather, you can slide all those windows open, get that breeze through here. And then it's also, the floor is actually warm. That's because we spent a little extra time and a little extra money to insulate that floor properly underneath. So a little bit of planning goes a long way. So we'll take you outside. Again, this deck is all wrapped up now, except for one little chunk of railing that they want to wait to do until the siding is done. So this is just a pressure treated, pretty simple deck. You can see they got all their J-channel ran. So they got the flashing behind the siding here, and then they have the J-channel on top of that. So if water ever gets in behind this siding, it's going to go into this J-channel, leak out, and not behind and rot out this wood here. So they're getting all that wrapped up, put on, and then they're going to get it all sided up, and then we'll get all the soffit and fascia on, and we'll be out of here. All right, so we are back at our Sunny Disposition Edition project. We are all wrapped up on the inside. We got all the trim on the windows, everything cleaned up and painted. They got the carpets laid down in here. It feels like an extension of the house. Sometimes when you put an addition on the house, it kind of feels like it's separate from the house. With this project, it really feels like it flows into both spaces really well. And you got a full 180-degree view all the way around, and you get tons and tons of sun and light and breeze in from these windows that you can slide open. So really like how it turned out, really like how it looks and flows in and out of the other house as well. All right, we are under the belly of the beast, aka the Sunny Disposition Edition. Everything's framed up. All the finishing touches on the outside are done, except for the concrete patio that's going to go under here. But I'll take you guys upstairs, show you everything that's going on. They got all this wrapped up, super clean looking. Again, wider stairs than most decks. We like to be able to get a grill up and down without having to bump your elbows. They're also extremely stable. We got all of our J-channel in, all of our siding on, all of our outlets in. Again, we were talking about that flashing that we did under here. You can't even see it because it's all the way down on top of the deck ledger down there. So it's very easy to not put it in because you can hide it. So that's a very key detail that we make sure that we put on everything. Vinyl siding is not really a waterproof product. So what I mean by that is it's installed with gaps basically everywhere so that it can expand and contract. So what that does is it doesn't make it completely watertight like a fiber cement or something like that. So moisture actually gets behind the siding, which is not abnormal. It's not normal to have rain going behind there and going back, but it's not abnormal to have moisture. So if there's moisture back there, we want to make sure that it has a way to get out.